Hey friends, welcome back to Intentional Motherhood. I'm your host, Kelsey Red, and I'm so excited about today's episode. We are interviewing Paige Murray, who has an incredible story and life to share, and most recently has started publishing children's books. She lives on a ranch and has had so many amazing experiences raising her daughter and her stepson on that ranch, and she's written children's books about the life lessons that they learn, specifically about caring for animals and learning all the lessons that they learn from running wild on this ranch. So make sure you check out the show notes below because that's where we have links to all of Paige's websites as well as where you can buy her books. They are so cute. I read them to my kids and they're adorable. I also want to remind you that in the show notes below is where you're going to find links to get on my email list so that you know about upcoming groups and courses we have, as well as to get all your resources that you need from these episodes. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Let's get started. Hi, friends. Welcome to Intentional Motherhood. I'm your host, Kelsey Red, and today I have with me Paige Murray, the author of the children's book, Rosie's Ranch Rescue. And we're going to hear a little bit about Paige's experience living on a ranch and getting into writing children's book, all about her Clydesdale, Rosie, and her daughter, Oakley. So, Paige, welcome so much to the show.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you. We were just getting to know each other a little bit,
Mhm.
and you have the funnest background of career and your husband's career, and tell us a little bit how you got into ranching.
Yes, so I grew up in South Carolina, and I went to Clemson and I majored in animal science. And after I graduated, I started working with NASCAR. I had been working with a modeling agency some during college and doing some promo modeling, and the job opportunity came along to be Miss Sprint Cup, which is like a brand ambassador for the sport and for the title sponsor.
Yeah.
And so I got the job. I got to travel the country. I had so much to learn. I was like a small town girl, hadn't hardly been out of South Carolina, not traveled much. So I was nervous, public speaking, all of that. Um, but I learned that I enjoyed broadcast journalism and I enjoyed television hosting and those different opportunities I got to do. So after I worked for Miss Sprint Cup, I actually started working. I worked at a hunting and fishing outfitter in Minnesota, and then I was on a CMT reality show called Sweet Home Alabama. I was like the
Oh, wow.
Bachelorette. It was country boys versus city boys. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was a fun experience. So just got a lot more experience being on television. Well, a job opportunity came along for Ride TV, and that's it. It was an equine-based, horse-based television network in Fort Worth. So I got the job, moved to Texas, and then I was working at the National Finals Rodeo as a broadcast reporter. And that's where I met my husband. He was out there working, and his name's Ty Murray, and he's a 9-time world champion cowboy. He was on Dancing with
Wow.
the Stars.
Oh, really?
On the
I'm gonna have to go look that up.
yes, you'll have to watch him. His dances are so fun to watch. So you know, so I was working for Ride TV, and I started doing working as a rodeo reporter for Fox Sports while we were dating, and then we got married, and I had my daughter Oakley when I was 31, and so my mom was a stay-at-home mom. I always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. That's really why I didn't pursue going to vet school, because I was like, I don't want to do 6 years of schooling, and then if I find a husband and blessed to have children, and then I've not wasted that time, but kind of felt like it was a lot of school and time to invest when I knew I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom if I was able to have children.
That makes
And
sense.
so Oakley was born, and I was staying at home, and it took all of my energy, all of my time. It took that first year was the hardest
Mhm.
part of motherhood that I've experienced yet. But as she got a little bit older, my husband bought our Clydesdale horse, Rosie, and he was documenting her training on Facebook. And people fell in love with her because a Clydesdale is really out of place on a ranch. Most people don't ride them. They're like, you see the Budweiser Clydesdales. They pull carts and they're in parades.
Yeah.
But he was training her to be a cow horse, a ranch horse. And I was just thinking, man, all these animals that we have on the ranch and the stories my daughter's learning from them, the lessons she's learning growing up on a ranch, and just the animals in themselves, I feel like have so many wonderful stories that kids would connect to, and I think they would love the adventure. I think they love having children's books based off real characters that they could connect with. And that's how it started. And so I didn't know anyone in the publishing industry. Didn't really know anyone that had published a children's book. But I was, like you just started your podcast. You wanted to do it. It was like on your heart, and you just educated yourself how to, run the computer system, the podcast system. I was like, I am going to write this book. If I can't find someone to publish it, I'll self-publish it and find an illustrator. And I had a little confidence because while I was working for Rad TV, I hosted a cooking show. And so I published my own cookbook just for family and friends. So I taught myself, how to create that with the different programs on the computer and how to get that listed. So I had a little confidence, but then luckily at my daughter's gymnastics class, I met a woman who used to work as a literary agent, and she's the one that got my foot in the door with a division of HarperCollins. And my first book, here it is, it was Rosie's Wild Ride, came out last October. And that's Rosie, our Clydesdale, and my daughter Oakley. And so it's based off of our real life ranch animals. And the first book was about them chasing their big dreams, trying to be a rodeo star in a world where she's really too big and too slow and Oakley's too little. And so they have to team up and chase their big dreams. And then my second book, what you just mentioned, Rosie's Ranch Rescue, just came out in October. And this is also based off real experiences on the ranch. And the Rosie and Oakley and Pete is our dog, and our grouchy barn cat Thumbs. They have to save the calves from a pack of coyotes.
Wow.
And so I take all these different experiences from our ranch life and try to put them in a book that children will enjoy and learn from, and open the door for parents to talk to their kids about different life lessons.
And I read the book. You sent me a copy, and it
Thanks.
was so cute, and I loved it. And I haven't had a chance yet, but I'm going to sit my kids down and read them the little book, because it really opened up a lot of discussions about compassion and about taking care of people and each other. So tell me about some of the life lessons that you've learned from raising your daughter on a ranch.
Yes. So the number of farms and ranches in the United States have gone down in numbers. So I feel like getting to raise her on a ranch is such a special experience, because it lets a kid just be a kid. She gets to go out and explore and adventure. And then when you have animals, kids learn responsibility. They learn hard work. They learn that others come before themselves. Like, you have to take care of your animals no matter if it's raining or snowing or a holiday. So it really is a place to for your kids to learn life lessons, and it's even lessons like the circle of life and death. And a lot of kids, their first experience with grief or losing something they love is through a pet. And so I think having those experiences through animals are a bit easier to handle when you experience that, with as you get older with other humans and you lose people close to you, or you experience grief in other ways. You've already had that experience as a child with your animals or pets. You learn about that. And so in Rosie's Ranch Rescue, the values and lessons I'm trying to teach, like you mentioned, was compassion. And so that comes from Coyote is the antagonist in the book. And the whole time you're reading it, you're like, oh, those coyotes are bad. They're evil. They're trying to eat the cute baby calves. But in the end, there's a lesson that Oakley's dad tells her, says, there's no bad animals. They're all just trying to survive. They get hungry just like you. And you see on the last page, there's an illustration of the mama coyote in the den with her pups, and they're all curled up together too. So it opens the door for parents to talk to their kids about viewing things from a different perspective, putting yourself in someone else's shoes. If there's a bully that's mean to you at school, you might not know what goes on in their life that you don't get to see. So that's a lesson that came from that one. And then taking care of each other, just on the ranch, your animals are part of your family. You learn to take care of them. And you learn to be gentle, but also to be tough. And like in Rosie's Ranch or in Rosie's Wild Ride, Rosie's really out of place on the ranch. She's different than all the other horses. And she wants to be a rodeo star. And so this book, it really focuses on like talking to kids about how your differences are your strengths, and how you find out what's unique about you. And that's what makes you special. It's not something to like be embarrassed about or self-conscious about your differences. That's truly, you can find your strengths by finding what makes you unique. So all these animals, it's a natural way to talk to your children about things they experience in life.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting because children learn so much through like imaginative play and
Mhm.
creating characters out of their toys and their dolls. But what you're describing when I hear it is that now they're taking that a step further and learning from these living creatures, the animals, who they're seeing the consequences of their actions of having to take that responsibility and care for them and put their needs ahead of their own, as well as seeing the compassion, seeing the circle of life.
Yeah.
And it's even that one step further where they can see in real life what's actually happening. And so it probably
Mhm.
really creates some important lessons, life
Yeah.
lessons that they learn. I'm
Yes.
curious what you've seen in Oakley as she's started to get a little bit older and maybe is starting to take on more roles and responsibilities on your ranch. How do you see it affecting her?
Oh, she's a very confident child, and I love that about her. She's confident, and she doesn't get discouraged easily. She's resilient.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's just one thing I've really seen blossom in her and continue to grow. And what the hardest thing for me being on the ranch is like I never had anxiety before I became a mom. Then I became a mom. It's like
Mhm.
everything scares me. It's like when you don't think about it when you're young of dangerous situations, but when your child is putting themselves in dangerous situations, it's like so you get so nervous. So even her riding horses and
Mhm.
um, just going out to play on the ranch, like oh gosh, there's rattlesnakes and just all kinds of stuff that um, could could be dangerous for her. And I've had to learn
Yeah, how do you
something to
manage
tell
that
myself.
anxiety?
Yes. It's like you just have to, and this is what I remind myself, you keep them as safe as necessary, not as safe as possible. And
Mhm.
so she's gonna get hurt. There's gonna be, they're running around playing outside all over the land. And it's like, she's probably gonna get hurt, but as long as it's like my husband always says, it's a long way from her heart. It's not an injury that's um, really going to affect her in the long
Yeah.
run. So I try to let her be a kid and just say no when it's really important. Otherwise, it's
Mhm.
like she's got to learn the hard way. That's the kind of kid she is too.
Mhm.
And so I try to, she knocked her teeth out when she was 3.5,
Oh, no.
playing on some obstacles. She was running across them and her foot slipped and knocked her two teeth out. But 2 days later she went back and my heart was beating so fast. She wanted to go back there and do the same obstacle. And she did it. And she said, I told you I could do it, Mom. And I was
Oh
like,
my
oh my
gosh.
gosh.
She's so resilient and your mama
Yes,
heart's like, "Please
yes.
no."
So I think ranch kids are raised to be tough and resilient. Mhm.
That's really interesting because I feel like where I live in a more suburban area,
Mhm.
I am very passionate about outdoor activities and getting my kids outside and adventuring with my kids, but I have to manufacture it a little bit
Yeah.
because we don't have land to take care of and we don't have animals to take care of except for the new kitten. We're gonna see how
Yes.
that goes. But I have to, like, get my kids loaded up in the car and take them out to the mountains to have some of these kinds of experiences of
Yeah.
running free, running wild, go explore, go take some risks. And so it's like, regardless of where you live, you kind of have to intentionally create
Yes.
those experiences. Some people can live on a homestead or on a ranch and have a little bit more of that just naturally built
Yeah.
in. Otherwise, those of us who are in the city have to go find that and create
Yeah.
that. And I think it's important to do it because of all the things you mentioned, the resilience, the self-confidence. Kids,
Mhm.
one of the number one predictors of confidence and self-esteem in kids isn't being praised constantly or being, told they're so special all the time. It's actually having responsibilities and being seen as a competent and necessary part of a team.
Mhm.
And it sounds like that's what you guys have
Yeah.
on the ranch with your family.
Yeah, it gives her a sense of purpose and a sense of accomplishment when she gets something done. And then I've really had, my husband and I both, you want to make things easy for them. You love them so much, but you really, if you step back and let them try things and fail, that's how they learn to be resilient. And that is how they build their confidence when they get it done. And all children are different. My stepson, he needs more encouragement. He
Mm.
he gets discouraged easily if he fails, and he never wanted to try new things, and he didn't want to try anything dangerous. So they were just born a little bit different too.
Mhm.
But yes, creating those moments, getting to state parks. There's so
Mhm.
many amazing national and state parks that you can take your children to, and I just feel like they're happier children when they're outdoors and they're in nature. And I see the joy and the life in my stepson and my daughter. I see it in their face all the time, especially when we've been outside playing most of the day and they've just got to be outside and be a kid and adventure and explore. And it's really neat to see that. And I see a difference in children that are indoors a lot of the time. They have a lot of screen time. I see a difference in their anxiety, their attitude.
Absolutely.
I can see it, and I think a lot of that is just getting to be outdoors and enjoy the sunshine and animals. And my daughter, she's animals teach you a lot of compassion. They teach you how to pick up on unspoken, like body clues, I guess
Yeah.
you'd say, of how a
Well, and
person's feeling.
the
Yeah.
energy of the animals. Do you feel like you and your daughter and your family are able to, um, maybe not communicate
hmm
energetically, but really, understand your animals that way?
Yeah, my husband, he is the best horseman I know. He truly is like the horse whisperer, for lack of a better word. He's so good with horses and he understands them and picks up on their energy and their body language. And the same with
Mhm.
animals. So, my daughter, she's so good with animals now. She knows when a cat's going to scratch her. She knows when a bunny's uncomfortable. She knows when the goats are, getting annoyed or something. And she picks up on those clues, those body language clues. And I think that translates over to her friendships, and she's able to pick up on how her friends are feeling, and hopefully it makes her a better friend.
Sounds like she's probably just generally more emotionally and energetically in tune with
hmm
everything around her.
Yeah.
And that experience comes from living day in and day out amidst all these animals and
I
in
think so.
the nature land.
So
That's
I'm
amazing.
excited for you to have a cat. Like it's going to be so
Our
fun for
first
a
experience
kid.
with a pet in our family. It's
Yes.
gonna be an adventure of its own for sure.
Yeah, it'll teach him so many things.
Mhm. Yeah. So I'm curious because as moms, sometimes it's like you said, that first year is so hard and it's easy to kind of get bogged down in that and forget some of
hmm
our own identity and purpose and kind of get really lost in motherhood. So I'm
Yeah.
curious about if you can tell us just how you came to decide, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start this project and what has that done for your motherhood journey?
Yeah. So really, the first year, I didn't have much creative energy left to pursue anything, and so I took up running. It was I I I know myself, and I like to have a goal to chase. And
Mhm.
so with running, I was like, I'm going to enter a 5K race, and I can run with my daughter. I can push her in the jogging stroller on the
Mhm.
ranch road. So it was something I could do with her. So I started running, um, and for 4 years, that's really that was that was like my hobby, and that's how I kept a part of me as I grew as a mom, and then motherhood, it is my purpose, and it's like I've never been more fulfilled. I've never felt more of a sense of purpose. So
Right.
absolutely love being her mom, but I know that I still like having something for myself. So it was running. First year was a 5K, then a 10K, then I did a half marathon, and then a marathon.
Wow.
Yes, so when she was 4, and then
Good for
and then I was
you.
like, yes, then I started writing children's books. So then that became like my goal, and something for me to pursue and to be proud of. And
Mhm.
then I'm doing my first high rocks race tomorrow. So it's
Wow.
like a different style of training and just something to do. So I think for me a big part of it is just adapting to
Mhm.
your new season of life, to your season, and find something. I didn't know I liked running, but I was like, I've always loved working out.
Mhm.
I've always been athletic. And so it's like finding something that you enjoy, and you might find a new passion and do
Yeah.
it as long as you like, as long as you enjoy. And then if you don't enjoy it anymore, find another hobby and something
Yeah.
that you can do. And just like you started this podcast, it's like
Mhm.
you wanted something to be proud of and to connect with people on as well. And so that was what running served that purpose for, 4 years. And then I started writing children's books, and that gave me something to work on, a goal to work on, and something to be proud of. But it didn't take away too much time from my daughter. And she's a big part of the story. She's the
Yeah,
main character.
exactly.
She gets to help me
Mhm.
write them.
Does
And
she just love seeing herself
oh,
in those
it's so
stories?
special. Yes. And she loves seeing her animals even more. And we
Mm.
have little stuffed animals that kind of match the characters.
Oh, that's cute.
But that didn't take away too much time from her. I take her when I go out to do all of my media tour. I take her with me. She's on the news with me, and she helps me rewrite my stories, and I read them to her after I get a first draft. So she's very involved with that. And so all that's just been a fun way to adapt to the season of life and motherhood, and um, it just, I loved traveling with my job. I loved being a reporter, but it's like I didn't want to commit to traveling like that as a mom. So you
And
find
yet it's
something
so
else.
interesting that you found a way to incorporate what you love
Hmm.
and that
Yes.
passion into your life so that you can still
Yeah.
have that dream life that you
Yeah.
had back then, but now you're just doing it with your daughter, and that probably
Yes.
makes it even more
Yeah.
fulfilling.
Yes. And it's like, I majored in animal science. So now I get to combine my love of animals and write about children's books.
It's
And
all come full
yes,
circle. That's amazing.
I've always loved to write, but it wasn't until I became a mom and was reading books to her every night that I really love picture books. This would be so fun to try, and then to just go for it, to just
Yeah,
do it.
yeah.
And if you fail, you learn something. If it doesn't work out, and you find something else, but no time or effort is wasted because you learn something from everything you're trying to do.
Well, and I
Um,
think like you said, like women are innately creators. Like we have
yeah.
that drive to create. So whether it gets published, whether you
Mhm.
broadcast your podcast, whatever it is in your realm that you love to do, creating is just good
Mhm.
for the soul.
Yes, it is. It is. It's fulfilling, and it gives you something to be proud of outside of like motherhood. And that's like, I was like, I don't, if this book doesn't make it, if no one's going to publish it, I still want to do it.
Well,
And
you
we
should
just
be
make it
very proud
happen.
of it.
Thank
You should be
you.
very proud of it. It's an adorable story. I didn't actually know that it was part of a series, so I'm looking
Yes.
forward to go and finding the other books, the next one it's when it's released in the future, and the
Yeah.
first book about Rosie, because those are so cute. Where can my listeners go to find your book
Yeah.
and follow you? Because it sounds like you have such a fun ranch life that I'm sure we can follow, and to buy your book.
Thank you. Yeah, so my website is paigemurray.com. That's like my author website. And there's all the information to purchase the books. Rosie's Ranch Rescue's there, Rosie's Wild Ride, and then Rosie's Cowboy Christmas will be out next September. So that one's not released yet for order. But these two are available, and there's a board book also of Rosie's Wild Ride if you have like toddlers or little kids.
Yeah, that's
And
perfect.
then, yes, and then also while I was, momming and running, I created a food blog called bootsandbiscuits.com. So if you like to cook and you like recipes, like family friendly recipes that are a little bit healthier, or just good recipes that are
Sounds
family
perfect.
approved, my blog bootsandbiscuits.com has a bunch of fun recipes because I enjoy cooking too. Yeah. So,
Awesome. Well, I look forward to that, and we will definitely be connecting all those links in
okay.
the show notes below, so my listeners can go find those and click on those links and get your books. And I can't wait for the Christmas book. I
Yes,
just recorded an
good.
episode about one of my Christmas traditions is we buy a special new Christmas book each year.
Oh,
So I'm like, okay, I
fun.
know what I'm getting next year.
Oh, I hope you love it. It's based off a real story too, and it's like
Awesome.
simplicity for Christmas and being together is what matters, are like the big themes for that one.
I love
So,
that. Perfect.
yeah,
Well, it's been
yes,
such a pleasure talking
you
to you today. Thank you
too.
so much for sharing your incredible life and your beautiful family.
You too. And just so you know, my funny farm started with one cat. You never know what's gonna grow from it. We now have
That's
7 cats.
amazing.
So
Oh my god.
started with one. Yes.
I love that. Okay, thank you
Well,
so much.
thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.